Hello and welcome to another Baggie Brothers video. Today we're talking best 11s where we speak to ex-players and West Brom content creators and talk about their best West Brom 11. And today we are joined by Louis Bent, aka the Baggies Podcast. Louis, how's things?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm really excited for this. How are you both doing? You both all right?
Yeah, we're doing good. We both obviously checked out your interview with Liam Ridgewell, which sounded pretty decent. You did a nice deep dive on his career.
Yeah,
I think nice to meet another person who's speaking to ex-players.
Yeah, he was very funny. I found it was very enjoyable to interview him. Yeah, and I've obviously been watching your best 11 series and seeing the people that you've been having on there. So yeah, it's been an interesting watch and glad to be picking my own.
Yeah, it's nice. You have to hook us up with Liam. We need to get him on.
I will put in a good word for you.
Cheers, man. Obviously, if you haven't watched that video yet, make sure you go over to the Baggies Podcast channel and check that out. But today, we're getting into his best 11 of West Brom players. And you've gone for 4-2-3-1.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
nice
classic formation.
Classic FIFA formation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Go on then. Let's start off at the back then. Goalkeeper.
Well, I feel for me in my lifetime, obviously I'm quite young in comparison to some of the the other people you've had.
Looking at us, Dan.
He's looking at us. Young in compared to us, yes.
He's looking at us.
Yeah, obviously I was quite comforted to see Will Burford doing one because I thought he's of a similar age to me. He's going to put in more, quite a few modern players, whereas I feel I'd be a bit left out if it was just me putting in the modern players. But I feel there's only one goalkeeper I could really go for, and that would have to be Ben Foster. No other better way to I think no other better goalkeeper. Very consistent, of course. Played with us through many eras. Indeed, we've had the Pulis era. He played through that. Played through the quite nice Steve Clark and Roy Hodgson era. So I feel there's only really one number one for me, and that's got to be Ben Foster. And of course, the Cycling GK YouTube channel just puts him further up in my good books.
Absolutely, we always bring it up, but yeah, it's that YouTube channel. I mean, it's turning all of us, I think, into sort of passive Watford fans, sort of secondary Watford fans, just because of him. And it's nice to see him doing stuff like that. Yeah, he's so good. He's so good. Back four. Do you want to go left to right?
Yeah, let's go left to right. So at left back, I've gone for Paul Robinson. Obviously, I saw you guys you've had a chat with him previously on your channel, but I feel there's just steel at left back, I think is the best word to describe him. Tough in the tackle, very robust, never shying away from a bit of competition. So yeah, I feel at left back there's no better option than Paul Robinson. I feel we've had some decent left backs across the years, but I feel for me in my lifetime, I think Paul is.
Don't forget Liam.
Oh yeah,
just spoke to Liam.
Yeah. Liam Ridgewell was a really close call to put him in, obviously, and fellow Baggies and Birmingham. Yeah, but Liam was very close, but just narrowly missed out by just a little bit to Paul Robinson there.
No, so again, it's obviously.
I'm sure he'd be the first to say as well. It's a great person to put ahead of himself. He was class, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was.
Super solid left back.
Go on then, your centre backs. Who have we gone for there as their pairing?
I've gone for a pairing which I think saw some happy years together in the Premier League. I've gone for Olsen and Macaulay. Obviously, I think Macaulay came to us, and I think he made his Premier League debut with us. I think he's in his mid-30s, was he, when he made his debut for us? I just think he was just a phenomenal player. I mean, he just sort of, for me, he exemplifies that Pulis era, coming up from the back, going up for a corner and just launching himself at the ball at, whatever height, whatever risk, and just coming through with goals. Obviously, that goal, which was a year ago today against Chelsea, sticks long in my mind. And then obviously Jonas next to him, again, just like Paul Robinson, never shying away from a tackle, never willing to put his head, his body, where it hurts. So yeah, Jonas Olsen, partner in Gareth Macaulay. I think that's a very solid centre back pair. And not sure on the side of pace where that would sit, but I'm sure it would be quite decent.
Yeah. Especially seeing as with those, especially I'd say their peak for us was when they were both in their 30s. So they're going to be a tad slow, but
all right. Foster will be a sweeper keeper. We're all right.
Sweeper keeper. Robinson will cut back. He'll help out with stuff, and then your right back obviously is going to help out as well, I would guess.
Yeah, he's not strictly a right back, I do have to say, but in sort of looking down the years at the players I've watched play right back, I felt I couldn't leave this guy out. I couldn't leave Johnny Evans out. I mean, I think a lot of us sort of took for granted or didn't appreciate him at the time as much as we probably should have, because obviously he's playing top 4 football with Leicester now and being their sort of first choice centre back. So yeah, he never normally played at right back, of course. I think he did play a few games at left back towards the end of his Albion career, but I think at right back he'd do a solid job. I think playing that ball down the line.
He's good enough too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good enough to, I think, good enough to play anywhere along that back 4 and even perhaps in a holding midfield if things came to it. If we received a couple of suspensions with the robust tackling going on at the back, I think Johnny Evans would do a decent job there.
And I'd say as well, West Brom do have a history of putting centre backs at right back. So you're playing into the sort of ethos of the club as well.
Yeah, I'm always thinking like Pulis would, with my centre backs playing all along the back line.
Super defending.
Team of centre backs.
Yeah.
Who have you got in your holding midfielders, field and rolling?
I've gone for 2 who actually played together for quite a couple of years, I think. A player that was with us for quite a while, which was Yusuf Malumbu, box to box. Just the engine in the midfield room, if you like, popping up with a goal now and then, often a super goal as well. And then Claudio Jacob alongside him, who I've got a little picture, you're not going to see him up there, but he's one of my favourite West Brom players. I mean, I think we must have signed him for such a nominal fee, and the fact that he's, gone on to just be that snappy, horrible midfielder, horrible. Yeah. But, if I was playing against him, I'd absolutely hate him. He would ruffle your feathers and he'd get in your face and he'd tackle you all day long and would always put in 100%. So I feel with those 2 in midfield, I think tackling and, providing a good solid base for my attacking players to flourish, I think.
Nice. Yeah, again, just 2 top choices, especially thinking, like you say, of sort of the last, 10 years or so of West Brom history. I can't think of 2 better midfielders we've had. Obviously,
especially holding midfielders.
People are coming up, possibly going to take the reins, but solid pair, perfect pair. Then you've got so now we're obviously onto the attackers, and you got your front 3. 4, isn't it? And then I'm guessing you're going for your 3 and then your 1 at the top. So who's in that 3?
Well, at right midfield, I'm not sure whether he actually played on the right, but I've gone for Zoltan Gera. I should probably warn this front, the 3 behind the striker isn't perhaps blessed with pace. I think this whole team is not perhaps blessed with pace, but certainly...
We've never really had fast players anyway.
We've not been a team for many flair players, to be honest, but I've gone for players that have got real technical abilities, so they'll be able to float the ball in. I've gone for Zoltan Gera on the right-hand side, just the goals that he would score, coming from outside the area, and he's just a magical player. He can change the game just like that. So... one of my particular memories I have of him is on that first day of the season. I think it was when we had Lukaku and we played Liverpool. We beat them 3-0. I think that was the game. And Gera just scored an absolutely magnificent volley from outside the area. So I've gone for him on the right. And then in my number 10 position, if you like, I've gone for James Morrison. I feel in number 10, as number 10s go, there's no better way to stick him in there. Obviously going to be hoping to create lots of opportunities for us, and a fantastic player. And hopefully I'd like to see him producing a bit more of a coaching role, perhaps. Obviously he's coaching at the moment, but I'd love to see him as manager one day, not perhaps right now, but I'd love to see him there one day. I'm sure a lot of Albion fans will echo that.
100%,
yeah. Him with an assistant manager who could only be one person.
To
say.
He's coming up. It is Chris Brunt. I feel if I didn't put him in the team, I think Albion fans would be hunting me down to come and slaughter me. But he's a wonderful left foot, one of my favourite players of all time, a legend. So Chris Brunt, not much I can say about him really. He's one of those players which you can only sum up in a few words. But his delivery from set pieces, and if you think Evans, Macaulay, Olsen are going to be coming up from the back to stick their head on any of his corners. But Chris Brunt definitely be my captain as well.
Just a magical player, wasn't he? Just so once he left, it was just there was a hole missing, wasn't there?
Yeah,
you could see it.
Yeah, I think I was a bit disappointed he didn't play much in that last season that he had with us in the Championship. Obviously, it was a magical moment for him to get on the pitch towards the end of that promotion campaign, and obviously see him, lift. Well, we didn't have a trophy, did we? But celebrate with the team and whatnot, and captain the team to a promotion. So Brunty, magical player. Can't look past him really at that left midfield spot, even though he did play at left back once. But for a bit under Pulis, but yeah, he's going left midfield for me.
But he kind of did a bit of almost a bit like a Giggs did at Man United, where obviously he was focused main on the left, but then at some point he got sort of put into centre mid when he wasn't as pacey as he was, and then sort of left back covering as well, just to sort of, I guess, to sort of keep him in the team because he was that much of a leader. But yeah, he was, he's one of those guys who was just, he'd just be on the park. He'd just be on the pitch like, you're on, play.
Yeah, I think Pulis, not necessarily Pulis, but all of the managers, they like to just have him playing in that sort of arc around that left-hand side so he can swing the ball in from wherever he is along that left-hand channel, whether it be in the midfield or on the wing or at the back. But yeah, magical player, Chris Brunt.
Yeah, he sure was. And go on then, who have you got to head all these crosses in from Chris?
I'm not sure he'll be doing much heading. I don't think I think he's a bit of a slight figure, but I've gone for Peter Odemwingie. Now I know I'm hearing the noises of Baggies fans hissing and booing at me, but because of the way he left. But I think Peter Odemwingie, as I came to be a season ticket holder, my dad taking me up the Albion, it's like the memories I've had of watching Peter Odemwingie play. They're just unmatched to other strikers. I could have perhaps put in Lukaku, but I feel I'd be a bit, you should never fall in love with lone players, of course, although I'm doing it at the moment with perhaps Jokaslu. But Odemwingie, the memories that I've seen of him, and just that finishing ability, and of course can't forget that 5-1 victory against Wolves. I feel criminal leaving that out, but yeah, the memories I've had of watching Peter Odemwingie, despite the way he left, I think it'd be criminal not to stick him in.
There's one, obviously, like you say, he scored loads of important goals for us. There's one memory that sort of sticks out for him as well, and it was a goal he didn't get, but I think it was at the end of a game. He was on the halfway line and hoofed it.
Yeah,
and the ref blew the whistle like just before it sort of bounced and went in. I remember thinking that was such an injustice for him doing I know a few other, obviously some bigger, better players have done it in the Prem, but as soon as he did that, I was like, oh my God, that's going in. Was he blowing the whistle? No.
Yeah.
That could have been a goal.
It was a bit like that, the Lee Mason thing on Sunday where he blew it just before it crossed the line. I mean, I was walking back to the car with my dad, and he was absolutely fuming about that. Just what a goal that would have been.
Yeah. We were a West Brom player in compilations for years.
Yes.
It didn't happen.
Definitely.
Furious. That's a solid team, Louis.
Yeah, really good team.
It's that you can't really argue with any of the players there. Obviously, you've got Evans at right back. You could arguably put a right back in, but as you say, sort of historically, especially during the last sort of 10, 15 years, like as far as right backs go, we've had a couple, but none of them better than Evans as a player. So, you got to sort of go for him. If you were to add one of these players into our current 11, who would you pick?
I'd probably. That's difficult, actually. In terms of, would you say, am I looking for a place where we could improve the team right now, or
it's
just
wherever you think? I guess if it's to improve somewhere you think we're weak, if it's just for their character, or if they're just your favourite player,
It would be between. That is difficult. I'm gonna go for Gareth Macaulay. I'm gonna go for him because I think in all the other areas, I think we've got players that can make a difference. However, I think at centre back, I know Ajayi and Bartley have been particularly strong, but I think if Bartley and Macaulay played alongside each other, be it lacking in pace, of course, but that centre back, that's frightening. That's frightening to play against them. Any striker would particularly despise playing West Brom with them two at the back, I think.
Yeah,
nice.
100%. Yeah, great choice.
Yeah, all for it as well. And like you say, obviously, such a tenacious defender, and having him at the back with someone who we've obviously, me and Adam have spoken about it, but as far as current players, Bartley is just sort of transformed into just this absolute leader at the back.
Yeah. Maldini, part 2.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, just needs the hair now. I think he needs to grow it out a bit to get the Maldini look.
I think so. It's got one of the best beards in the Premier League for sure. So if you grew that hair out,
be one handsome defender.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today and having a chat with us about this, Louis. Always good to see people's best 11s. Best place for people to find you, obviously, would be over on YouTube, would be the Baggies Podcast. But anywhere else where people can find you online?
Anywhere really. I'm all over the shop really. You can listen to the podcast if you don't want to see my face every week on YouTube. You can listen to the audio from that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. Always active on there. So yeah, if you fancy following, then just go over to YouTube channel and there'll be all the links that you need. But obviously we've had Liam Ridgewell on the podcast this week, so if you fancy a listen to that, obviously head over to the YouTube channel and have a listen.
Yeah, make sure you do. We'll make sure we've got all the links down in the description box. Thank you very much for watching, everyone who's made it this far. If you could click subscribe and like those things, help us all out. All the socials will be in the description box and on the screen. We will see you next time. Cheers, guys.